What up, everybody? Welcome back to Chopping It Up. It's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy. It's your boy, Tasman Holloway. You guys are now tuned into episode 13 of Chopping It Up, man. What a week, what a day. Today's what? Wednesday, May 17th. Yeah. Lakers game 1, Western Conference Finals. Crazy game last night. Me and Charlie slid down to the Emerald Queen Casino. Checked it out. I would say it was pretty packed in there. It was like a monster of people in there.
Yeah.
We had a really good time though. We went there, vibed out, peeped the scene, and seen game 1. What are your thoughts on game 1? Like, how you feeling? You bet on the game last night too, right?
I did. I'm glad that I won on that backdoor cover. But I thought it was a fun game, and I thought that ultimately that the Lakers, despite losing, I mentioned to you, I thought that they looked pretty good. I mean, The Nuggets came out and were just kind of a terror, and the fact that the Lakers were close in the end, I felt like was a good sign for them.
Yeah, I didn't know Jokic was going to be so aggressive. That's a big ass. You were telling me last night he's Serbian, right?
Yeah,
he's Serbian, so he's like you guys like. If you guys watching the playoffs, this guy is like a phenomenal player. I think he's like, what is he, 7 foot?
7'1" or
jumper. He's got good leg movement. He's just a phenomenal all around player, and I just was like, damn, So, but shout out to the Lakers, though, man. They did a lot better than I thought they were going to do. Coming out game 1, obviously they're playing at a higher altitude. Charlie was mentioning that last night as well. When you're in Denver, because you're from Utah, right?
Yeah.
So Utah, like.
That altitude's real there too. When our soccer team was good, Real Salt Lake, when they were good a few years ago, anybody that would come to town, and teams are coming to town from Mexico, they're coming from all over the U.S. and they come to town, and that was always the comment, is like, oh, the altitude here is real, and in Denver it's another 1,000 feet higher. So I heard LeBron before the game say something about that altitude affects him more now than it did when he was younger. And
isn't it crazy seeing like LeBron like in this era of like his age, where it's like catching up to him, where he's kind of like, yo, like I feel old, like, and we're used to like I remember on some fast breaks when I was young, LeBron would just take off. Like now he's like addition the ball.
Yeah.
I feel like he's saving himself for his son to come in the NBA. You know what I mean? And, it's because I think his long life dream is to play with his son in the NBA.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a father-son duo in the league?
I don't.
Sure.
An active one? I don't think so.
I don't think there's been an active father-son dynamic that played on the same team together.
No, the only thing I could think of is Griffey's, right? Like that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, the Griffey's, the Griffey era. Yeah, I've never seen it in the NBA. So Charlie, just gotta give you guys a backstory, is a colleague of mine where I'm at. Shout out to Brittany. We've worked on a lot of things. We've kind of became, just friends over time, just kind of like just always talking economics things and just learning a lot of things. I've realized that I know a lot of stuff, right? I come from like a different background than Charlie, obviously, but I'm able to coordinate ideas and emphasize, technology, different things that he's involved in, whether it be like AI, whether it be stocks, economy, sports. He's just a good guy to have as a friend, and he understands the other part of the industry that I don't. And I've been telling him, like, man, get you a podcast going, bro, because like he's so educated on like, he understands real estate, he understands the bank, he understands the economy, he understands, everything. And I've always wanted to get on my podcast, man. So we kind of found some time in the day. We both had some free time. I had some free time, which I really never have free time. But this month has been kind of slow for me, at least on the business side. But May is always like a weird month, when it comes to business. It's always like that transition in from like, you go from like your fall and your winter, and then you're merging in spring, and then next month's graduations and all that shit.
Yeah.
Then it's summer. So
then you're summer.
So we had time. So Charlie, kind of tell them a little bit about yourself. Like, so you're from Utah, right?
Yep. I'm from Utah. I'm kind of from Utah. I was born in Las Vegas and raised in Utah, kind of. Yeah.
Shout out to Vegas.
I spent all my summers back in Vegas and in LA until I was out of high school, and ended up going to college in Utah and sticking around there, and then tried to leave a bunch of times and kind of never really shook out. And along the way, I ended up with learning a whole bunch of education and that really emphasized data and statistics and healthcare. I ended up working in healthcare for a while. I still work in healthcare now. And so that's kind of and I work specifically on kind of the side that's interested in health insurance, which explains a little bit about why I'm interested in economics and, statistics and that kind of thing, essentially. But yeah, I moved to Tacoma a couple years ago because my partner bought a house here, and I was working out of Seattle for a couple years before the pandemic and stuff. And I love it here, man. It's great. I'm having fun. Yeah.
Nah, so
it's
that's
been
dope.
good.
That's dope. So, and you're in just kind of a backstory. Like you grew up with a single mother.
Yep.
So single mother, you kind of weren't really involved with your father.
No, my dad's around. Yeah, he's around, but he's always, he's my dad's a hustler, and it's just been kind of a different game, I guess.
Kind of doing his own thing or whatever.
A little bit, yeah. My mom's definitely a little bit of a single mom. I got the stepdad story that everybody doesn't want and all that kind of stuff. But I got family. I think probably kind of a unique thing, I guess, about all that is just like I got siblings spread out over a really big age range, which I feel like
You're the oldest, though, right?
No, I had an older brother. He died when I was 16.
Oh.
Yeah, so a long time ago now.
I think you did tell me that about that before prior. Yeah, sorry, bring that up.
No, it's all right. It's been so long now.
Yeah,
but,
I think you did.
But I do have like
2
two. I got a younger brother who's 15 years younger than me, and my sister's 7 years younger than me.
Damn.
So my older brother was 10 years older than me. So like coming up in Vegas, it was like him, introducing me to music and getting in trouble, and him in and out of juvenile detention and all that kind of stuff. And
hey, hold on. What part of Vegas did you grow up in though? Because Vegas, that's my city, man. I love Vegas, man.
I grew up in kind of, I guess it'd be it's kind of northeast Las Vegas. I grew up over near
northeast. That's like the north side's kind of ghetto a little bit.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vegas, no disrespect. Yeah.
That's my.
I was in that Summerlin area, man. I like Henderson. Henderson's a little too crowded for me. But I like the Summerlin, like going toward Red Rock, that real more laid back, more calm.
All that stuff didn't even, speaking of real estate, that stuff didn't even exist when I was a kid. I mean, Henderson did, but it was weird. Like I remember being a little kid and it was always like, oh, if you were going to go to Henderson or Green Valley, it was like you were leaving the city and had to drive through the country to get there.
Facts, it's on the other side of Vegas. Like people think Vegas is just a strip and then that's it. Like, no, there's like a whole bunch of shit going on around Vegas. You have like North Vegas, you have like Henderson, you have Red Rock, you have in the 15 kind of like takes you in a big circle, right? It's like a big circle freeway, and then like you have like Summerlin and all that area, and then like I love Vegas. It's just it's like a big, to me it reminds me of a bowl. Like when you fly over the mountain and then you look at the big valley, and it's just like there's Vegas, right? And it's dope, man. So
I grew up driving in on I-5 from Utah too. Back and forth, and you come over that mountain.
Yeah,
it's exactly what you're saying.
You see it. It's and I never that feeling or that view never gets old of Vegas. I love Vegas. I'm always like, man, when I actually want to move back to Vegas, right? Speaking of Vegas, they're actually about to bring back a baseball team. We're actually going to bring a baseball team and an NBA expansion team right down there next year.
I'm ready for that NBA expansion team.
Man,
I don't know if that counts as my new home team.
I'm trying to tell you, I still have a Las Vegas area code, man. I want. My mom's in Vegas right now for Mother's Day, and I actually want to go. I just booked a flight back, but I actually want to go to Vegas, man. I want to move back down there and just kind of be stuck in Vegas. And I don't know what it is about it, man. I don't know if it's the palm trees, the desert, the women, the nightlife, the strip, the views, the lights. I mean, it gives you some kind of inspiration, but you only can do Vegas for so long because then it gets real dry. You're like, there's no water.
So, the hangover gets real if you go too hard.
But they got some beautiful women in Vegas, man. And I love Vegas, man. So you were in Vegas and then you came. So you were in Utah. You grew up in Vegas, went over to Utah. Came over to Washington.
My parents are trying to get away from bad habits. Let's say.
Vegas do that shit to you. So you go over to Utah, then you come up to Washington. Now you have a fiance or wife you're working with now. Shout out to Erica. And so now you're just doing that. You're in the health business. But aside from that, what you guys understand about Charlie is he's very. Now, the reason why I thought it was important to get him on the podcast is because he understands the literature of a lot of different areas, whether it be economics, whether it be sports and entertainment, whether it be I don't know, healthcare.
I was telling Brittany earlier, My latest one right now that I'm like geeked out on that is just super nerdy is trees.
Oh shit!
And like local policy for planting trees here in Tacoma.
Like there's like wait. So what do you mean by that? Where there's like a law on how many you can plant?
Yeah, like how can you plant in the right of way in front of your house? You know, like
You can't
do you
just
need
plant on your property.
because the right of way the city owns it technically, even though it's in front of your house, like you know the sidewalk between the sidewalk and the road. Yeah, so I've got I got 13 feet of right of way out in front of my house, so it's a big median out there. And so I'm like, I want to plant trees, and then you have to have a permit to plant in there, and then it turns out there's a bunch of trees that are pre-approved, and
holy shit,
it's a whole thing. And I got bored and geeked out on it.
You ain't been messing with them shrooms, have you, Charlie?
Not recently.
That's so funny. So so I mean it's just I think his way of thinking is very articulate, and I think is very, very smart.
Thank you.
So to get on one thing that he kind of what opened my mind up is that I do YouTube. I work with the algorithm. I work with a lot of back end of a lot of stuff, SEO, optimizing, all that shit, man. And he kind of gets it. He's kind of helped me out a lot of stuff. Let's talk about AI because you kind of brought it to my attention. I had heard about artificial intelligence because, like, you know, when you're on the freeway and then you drive up and they got a red light, and then it makes you wait for about 10 seconds. And then it goes green and then allows you to go. I never knew that's AI. I was told that by, I think, either a cop or somebody was like, yeah, that's artificial intelligence. Like, it just knows how many cars are on the freeway at that time to let you go. So give them a little backstory on AI, because right now there's a big thing going on with John Morant's response. They're saying that he used AI to write his response.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said, well, that's what the assumption is from. I just seen Skip Bayless. What's my guy's name? Shannon Sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, people are saying that they think that he used AI to respond to the allegations of him flashing the gun. I'm like, regardless if he did or not, AI is huge right now. Chat GPT.
Chat GPT, yeah.
It's huge.
It's called generative AI.
So kind of give the audience a breakdown. What is AI?
Yeah. So I'll kind of take a couple of different cracks at this a little bit. So first of all, AI. You mentioned the camera just a second ago, right? So AI, there's a lot of different ideas, but at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people think about artificial general intelligence, or what's called AGI, which is like, you know, you think about Jarvis or something from Iron Man, right? Like a fully functional assistant that can kind of do human level stuff. That's not really what most AI is. Most AI is machine learning that was developed to do some really specific task, like monitor a video for how many cars are sitting at a stoplight and recognize that the cars are there, and you know what I mean? Like, that's a thing that AI does, a computer vision problem.
But where's it grabbing the information from,
Yeah, so in that case, right, like it'd be using the video, but in order to train the data, you have to have a lot of that, or to train the algorithm, you have to have a lot of data of those types of videos. And so basically all of these algorithms, in that case, it's a computer vision problem. With John Morant, it's actually, that's a natural language processing, or, you know, a text generation problem. So these are generative AIs in the sense that you can go out and get one to create an image for you, or create a story for your poem or whatever, right? And generate that for you from text, from a prompt that you're giving to it. But all of what's happening in the background is all based on, you know, data that's probably scraped from the internet. And, you know, the people who build these things, they think a lot about what data sources are good, because one of the, you know, the kind of notorious behaviors of AI is that it lies. It's not it's not really like a computer in that way.
So is AI a good thing or is it bad?
I mean, I think it's going to be like any other tool, you know, like it's going to be both.
It's going
to be both.
I think it's just, so the more information that we allow on the internet, that's how AI places its brain. I say, because when I think of AI, don't call me weird, I think of a little robot. Like they built a robot, you know what I mean? And this robot just gathers information and it just disperses, and it can run. So basically, let's for instance use an algorithm. Let's say an Instagram algorithm. Yeah. You can input an AI to go in there and clean up like bots and things like that. And because for the audience that aren't familiar, what is an algorithm? Like, what is that?
So an algorithm is just like the prepackaged code that tells your computer to do whatever. So like, if you have an iPhone with a camera that does the face recognition or whatever, when you hold your phone up, the algorithm is just that piece of code that's telling the phone to recognize whether or not the face that it's looking at is you, and then unlock.
Damn.
Like that's the algorithm.
And that's a code, right?
Yeah.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that like they spend, I mean, these companies, they spend a ton of time and effort. The amount of data that goes into training these things, they spend a ton of time and effort engineering those data in the first place. And then even after you like get it right, you have to figure out how to miniaturize it and make it work fast, because your phone does that in less than a millisecond. So it's not looking at all the data on the internet or any of that. Like it's doing it on your phone very, very quickly. And
damn,
damn. I don't know how people, I honestly have never developed any of those types of projects. So I kind of understand the math behind how these things work a little bit, but
which
I
is
meeen,
crazy.
It is pretty wild stuff. It's also kind of cool though, because like the reality is that if you've ever been in like kind of simple statistics class, even if you just know like the field goal percentage from the game last night, in some ways those are the basic concepts that are behind all of AI. Is that's what we're using, the sort of rules of statistics to predict what comes next, to predict what the response to the prompt is.
So is that kind of how, like, because you sports bet as well, right? So it's like, do you think like they're using AI to like?
Absolutely.
For sure.
The casinos are they are using it. The first application of computer vision that I ever heard of was casinos in Vegas using it to catch cheats, and that was back in like 2000.
So AI's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that like when the casino's been using it that long, they've been using it in the sports book for at least that. Because it's not exactly obviously like recognizing someone like a cheat, somebody who's a card counter or whatever they do, that I don't think card counters are cheats, by the way. I think that's a probability and kind of stats game itself, but that's a different conversation. But like that's a different problem than trying to predict the point spread on the game last night. So I'm sure that they're quite different in how they do it, and I'm not exactly sure when they started, but they have to be. I mean, all of those like websites out there, like 538 or whoever you may have, Basketball Reference, all those data sites have existed for years and years now, for at least 10 years probably. And so that for probably 10 or 15 years before that, the casinos were all leveraging this.
God.
And that's why when you go to
Crazy.
EQC though, like when we go over there, that's why they clearly have a contract with MGM. That BetMGM is who's running all their sports betting.
Oh, for sure.
And that's because the more, going back to kind of the AI and the prediction, the more good data that you have, the better your predictions are. And so MGM is taking and aggregating. I don't know this. I've never like asked anybody. This isn't reporting, so don't come for me, MGM. But
allegedly,
yeah. But MGM, I'm guessing, is taking data from all of their sites, including the casino, sports books in Vegas, wherever they have contracts, online betting, all of that, and they're aggregating up that behavior from bettors in the past and going forward into like all the way back. I guess not so much going forward in the future, but they're gonna continue to collect that data because it helps them make better predictions about the outcomes. And it's weird because sports betting's weird because in some ways they're not about trying to get it right either. Like they don't actually.
How do they know? Like
they're
last
so
night,
good at it.
So yeah, because like last night the spread was 6, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching the game.
It was 6.5 was the point spread, and then it was
spread.
6 on the
So it's like I don't fucking get it. Like I don't want to talk crazy, but it's like, is sports like rigged or like it's like, bro, like, cause like we're sitting there watching, Lakers are losing by 20 in third quarter, and we're like, damn, I'm thinking the game's over with, and they come back in the fourth quarter and they end up going like on a whatever run, and they come back and they're down. They lose by how many? 6?
They lost by 6, but they were down 3 maybe. I don't know if they tied the
at
game
one point,
up.
and then I think there was a foul or something got called or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just crazy. I'm like, damn, the Lakers. They shocked me. They impressed me for sure. I didn't know that they were going to come back from that deficit.
Yeah.
They were down pretty much. I thought the game was over. I was ready to leave. It's going to be a good series.
It's going to be a good series.
Really good series. You're actually hoping the Heat win the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I mean, I guess that's what I put. I put a couple bets this morning, just just to see. I think. I mean, I'm never ever gonna doubt Jimmy Butler. I don't know. He's a guy that I really love. He's the type of guy that I love. I went to Weber State for college.
Nice.
Shout out to Dame Lillard.
Shout out to Dame.
I love the hard workers. I love those guys in Ogden, Utah. Yeah,
Utah. Yep. Yeah. Shout out to him. Yeah.
And so those guys that put in that grind and just don't ever quit and are tough like that.
Speaking
I love
of Dame,
that.
I wonder where he's going next year.
Man, I'm so
like we hate to
curious
see him leave Portland,
And they got the number 3 pick. Maybe he stays.
That's true. But I think like once it's already kind of like come to like the limelight that you want to be traded, or there's not like there's disagreements going on, I think it changes like the aspect of respect or like comfortability. Like I know that I want to be traded, or y'all want to trade me, or something like. It's just really weird when you get to that, and that's how any business is. I feel like even in real estate and other things, like it can get really uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Or like your wife. Your wife's like, "What if we? What if I slept with someone else?" And you're like, "You can't put that cat back in."
Yeah, you can't. No, because at the end of the day, it's already out there, right?
Yeah.
It puts the weird emphasis on the relationship or the weird energy on it, and you're kind of like you can't fix broken glass. I always say that all the time. Like people try to fix broken glass. You can't. I don't care if you get the most manufactured person engineered. It's always gonna be. It's almost like I remember like if something happens like a pair of my shoes or like my car or like my watch, or I just don't want it. I feel like I deserve the quality of being like. I want whatever's the freshest and the cleanest, right? I hold myself to that standard in anything I do. And that's probably not a good thing, because like if my girl comes and tells me she cheats, like I don't give a fuck. Like we're done. Like we ain't talking about nothing. I don't care if it was an accident. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that, so like if someone comes out and we have in the conversations even on the table that you want to trade me, but you don't know what you want to trade me for, it's almost like I don't want to go too left with it. It's almost like modern day slavery, and I don't want that to go left or wrong, but like, how do you?
I think that's definitely been true in professional sports.
You know what I mean? Listen,
it definitely has been.
I'm not racist, and I got white friends. My kids are half white. I rock with everybody. I'm just saying, from the aspect of these higher ups, they're like, "Yo, I'll trade you this, and this for this," and you're like, so I'm saying, I guess I'm saying in that relative, like, if I'm the guy in the trading seat, I'm like, "Yo." Like, that's what I'm worth to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think he's brought a different face to Portland, a different energy. You won't go find that in Lillard. I went and seen him this year, him and LeBron, and they went toe and toe, and I was just like blown away. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, I'm going to be going a lot more. I can't wait for the NBA team to come to Seattle, because I think I'm going to be at every damn game. Just because I like the energy when you're in the arena, and it's crazy, man. And I hope LeBron can play in Seattle before he goes, man. That'd be phenomenal, man.
That'd be so great.
That'd be phenomenal.
Because
I think they're bringing the team next year. So if LeBron can get in, man, I would love to see him come to Seattle. But that's going to be amazing, because the Kraken right now are going crazy.
Yeah,
the Kraken are like in the playoffs and shit.
And I'm from Utah, so I'm supposed to kind of hate on the Seattle fans a little bit, but like it's great. They're great fans. It's a great sports market, you know. And like the Sonics is a legendary team. Like you gotta. There's no reason that Seattle shouldn't have an NBA team.
And which is crazy, because like I remember being young, like when I first moved back with my mom back in '97. I remember like, going to the games for like $20. Like my stepdad, well, not my stepdad, like a guy that my mom was dating was like, like he was like, "Hey, let's go to the game." I remember seeing Vin Baker. I remember seeing like all those guys down there, man. Like I think Ray Allen. There was hoopers down there in Seattle. I remember being young. I was like in 7th grade. Going to those games, man, and we were going for like $20, good seats too.
Yeah.
And I think it was Nikkei Arena. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Nikkei Arena.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So shout out to the Kraken and shout out to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's good to see that they're bringing that kind of energy back to the city. Obviously, Seahawks fans are like diehard fans.
Yeah.
And, the Kraken fans have proven themselves as well.
Yeah. Hold on real quick. We gotta say last night at the casino, it was funny when they put Russell Wilson on the screen.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Russell Wilson though. Once again, that goes back to my conversation just a couple seconds ago. Once the energy comes publicly to ESPN and all these other media outlets, it's always like it's no one's shaming the owner for wanting to trade the player, but everyone's hating the player for wanting to be traded. If you come to me and hey, if you went home right now and your wife goes, "Hey, I want to trade you for our neighbor," you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, I don't. What I talk about? I'm not, bro. Russell Wilson brought them a ring, bro. Like, I fuck with Russell Wilson. I mean, what more can you ask for? Like, I mean, the guy, was here. He was dedicated. He just wanted to be a part of the meetings with, I think, Snyder and my boy. What's my boy's name from you?
I'm not sure.
The head coach, Pete Carroll.
Oh yeah.
From what I was hearing was he wanted to be involved in the meetings with Snyder, because Snyder's like the guy. I think he's like one of the guys under. So there's like Paul Allen owns the team, and then like there's all these people coming up. I believe Snyder's like the guy who does a lot of the business shit with the Seahawks. And I was hearing that he wanted like Russell Wilson wanted to be more involved. But his wife, I don't think his wife wanted him to be here no more. And Sierra was like, man, get him out here. And shout out to Russell too. He got, I'm in real estate. That boy sold that house up there for $29 million, I think. And then there was like a additional dwelling unit on the property. I think they got on the $8 million for that. So it was like something crazy, like $36 million, something crazy. Like it was something.
I heard it was $30 million.
Yeah,
something like that.
Shout out to Russell Wilson. He invests in real estate, but that's another story. But So we're hoping that they bring the team back, and then aside from that, Charlie's really, really, really. I mean, he's just smart with code writing, right? Like you write code.
I have, yeah. I don't do a ton of it, and I'm certainly, for all the real coders out there, I'm not a full stack programmer or anything like that.
Yeah.
But in order,
he knows the shit though.
Yeah, to be an analyst, you kind of end up having to learn some types of coding. But it used to be, when I kind of came up in this world, it used to be that you would learn coding in dedicated like statistical software, and now more and more everybody uses Python or R, and you can use those they're just like programming languages. So yeah, you can kind of do
crazy,
whatever.
Python, that shit writes its own program.
Yeah,
right?
like you can use it you can write in Python again, I mostly use it to do analysis and stuff like that, but work with data. But you could write a game, you could kind of, it's a computer program, crazy, so yeah, man. You could kind of do whatever.
Technology is just crazy. And speaking of which, because you have you're like a diehard sports fan, and he like Charlie's like, it's crazy because like he knows there you got the Utah Jazz in the arm, and he's like a diehard sports fan. He knows his shit. And you wanted to actually work at ESPN at one point, right?
Yeah. I applied for some jobs there to be an analyst with them. Yeah. I got a friend who I got a couple buddies who do some soccer analysis and have been published in like the Washington Post. They do a podcast, I think, even called American Soccer Analysis. So I had an opportunity to kind of work with them some on soccer stuff at one point, and I was busy and ultimately passed. But yeah, I've kind of pursued it a little bit here and there. It just never really shook out, and I make good enough money in healthcare that it's hard to go take a a risk on the sports side. There's so much competition. There's a lot of people want those jobs. I think you got it though, bro. I think you're hella smart. I think you got it, bro. Now I want to be a GM now. Yeah. let's shoot for the stars, because me and Charlie, we're locked in. I mean, like this guy, he's definitely an asset to what I got going on. Smart dude. I get a lot of information from him, a lot of data from him, a lot of like, because everything that I do obviously works in the potency of business and regarding AI, regarding numbers and information. That's just the most valuable thing you can have. You know what I mean? Because we were talking about it earlier. What's going on with the economy right now? Yeah, exactly.
With all the banks and everything that's going on. So kind of give them a little spill on what you were telling me downstairs, like about the banks and everything that's happening with the economy. Your take on what's going on. Yeah. So I was just saying that I think it's just strange. It's like a strange environment to be in. And what I was saying is that what I know about kind of pandemics means that, that this kind of thing is somewhat expected, that they're just super disruptive, right, of economies and societies in a way. And I was saying it's never really happened before. And so in some ways, it was hard to know what to predict, but also I think everybody knew really weird stuff would happen. And the best example that I've been using, lately that's really kind of caught me off guard is like the 3 bank failures that happened, because those banks, they're taking their money, right? And whatever they're doing, they have some way that they're hedging their risk with safer bets, safer assets or whatever. And typically that's bonds is how people do that. And the
the rising interest rates has messed with the bond market in such a way that it's not paying out as expected, and that compromised the finance of these banks. And it's just strange because it's these ripple effects. And it feels like, and again, I'm not really an economist. I don't really, and I'm not really that guy. I'm not an expert on this, but it's weird because like in 07, those were big banks that failed in before the '08 crisis. And then after that, it was like unemployment, there was like a whole thing for years after that. Anybody who remembers where it was disrupted. And what's weird right now is that everything feels like a mixed signal, It's like in some ways the stock market's okay, or the real, interest rates are rising, that's not good. People feel the inflation, but the unemployment is low. And so it's like some indicators suggest things are going great and others don't.
I think those numbers might be off though. I think they're giving us data. I think everything is low right now. And they're giving us data like, because you say unemployment's low, but then when you go like places, they don't have enough employees.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
Well, that's what happens when unemployment is low, because there's nobody who wants a job. You know what I mean?
Oh, so I thought it meant like the unemployment, like they're outsourcing the money. That's low, right? I thought that's what that meant.
No. I'm saying like the
unemployment
actual
is like it's a service that they give you money.
Right. That's true. So unemployment insurance is what you get if you're unemployed. So like the state is collecting, like all of us who get paychecks right now, we all get a little bit into that.
So okay, you just educated me. So when you say unemployment is low, that means that people aren't working.
The rate of unemployment, yeah. So like the actual like rate of people who are unemployed or underemployed is another term that economists use.
That's what I would think. Okay, yeah, I was like, man, because I everywhere I'm going, like if I go somewhere, there's like a longer wait.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody working.
Yeah, and that causes issues, like that makes it hard to find, like that low unemployment makes it hard to find people because people aren't looking for jobs. And then you have to pay them more, which can have an effect on inflation, right? Because now you're putting more money out to have to pay them. And so it's such a strange thing. And I think in your world, where it's so weird is that inflation meets these Fed interest rates.
Facts.
And that Fed interest rate going up and up like this, it's just like everybody feels the inflation real fast.
It's scary. I was talking to my lender yesterday. She said that we're like 6'8", 6'9", like almost at 7. So they're back up, and which is insane because let's say you buy a house for 700 G's. I mean, what's your mortgage like $6,000 a month type?
Oh yeah.
If you buy a house for 700,
it's gotta be a lot.
Yeah, let's say you bought a house for particularly, let's say 700. Yeah.
That's probably about right.
So we'll say upwards of $5,000.
5, 6,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So that to me is insane. You know what I mean? Like, I just think like, who's able to afford this stuff? Because on one side of it, you see the 5% run 95%. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel there's no more middle class.
Yeah.
I think it's been eradicated. There's no more middle class. I think you're either just skimming by check to check or like week to week, because like I think COVID just really it abolished people. Like if you had money saved up, you kind of blew through that money because obviously the economy was, when we were in Washington, we were shut down, the first state to shut down, and then we didn't open back up until I want to say like last April or May.
Yeah, it was just, we did an event here in Seattle in May, and it was just before that they started open.
So it kind of it got, but it still was kind of going because then they introduced the mask again last summer, and then they just last week before Mother's Day, just globally said that it's over, like it's done, like it's officially a done deal with COVID. So but yeah, I mean, the economy, it's crazy to see where it's at, because I'm a business owner, and like I'm kind of familiar with the months that are busy and the months that are slow. Like, I'm kind of familiar with it. But the last like 36 months have been very all over the place, because in the beginning it was like a booming economy, everyone was getting money, you had unemployment, you had all this stuff, and then like 2022 was a little weird because then rates started kind of climbing. But in 2021, people are making a shit ton of money in real estate, people are making a shit ton of money in the car business, people are making money in everything, and then it seemed like at the end of 2022 it just kind of hit like a halt. And like we kind of been just like, it reminds like when you're trying to make it to the gas station, you're just kind of putting. I feel like we're kind of putting right now. Like people are kind of just barely getting by. Like even including me, I'm really like, I'm gonna live my life. One thing about me is I don't put money on value of my happiness, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna figure
I like
it out.
that.
If I have to rearrange things in my life, I'm gonna rearrange things, but I'm not gonna stop living. I'm gonna get up every day. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna kick it because money doesn't compromise my happiness. My happiness is controlled by how I feel every morning. I get up, I go to the gym. I thank God for waking me up.
Yeah,
I enjoy
yeah.
my life. You always can make more money.
Yeah.
You always can make more.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's real shit. If you put if you let money control you, then it's like, okay, man, you don't even know who you are because it it's gonna come a point where you're gonna have to choose. And money's always to me gonna have to be spent. And I'm a bigger person. Like I'm always putting money back into the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As soon as I make money, I like literally have to throw it right back into marketing, management,
Yeah.
social media. I mean, it's just it's constant. Like it comes and I hand it over. Whether it be with my businesses, I have to pay overhead. And I'm learning, and this is a great thing about the recession. It taught me how to initially subsidize my overhead.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like bring down my overhead. Like I think a lot of us got a little bit too far on the water. It's okay to pull back a little bit. Okay, let me pull back a little bit. Let me get back to the shores.
Yeah.
I ain't got my life raft right now. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back to the shores and get my feet back and twiddling the water.
Yeah.
Because you go with them sharks, man. Some of them guys out there got $100 million. Some of them guys got $1 billion. They can go play. They can go play right now. You might be out there, some with them sharks, and you're gonna get your ass. You're gonna drown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So know that. Move smart. Don't let money control you, but always know that you gotta keep reinvesting back into this. It's almost like it reminds me of like the ecosystem, right? I remember being in school, like they said, like it would rain, and the water would come to the ground, and then it would evaporate back up into the clouds. So always that's how it rained, right?
Yeah.
That's how rain works. Like it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
And so I look at business like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You market it,
cycle.
you get money in, and think about like Starbucks or McDonald's. They make a ton of money, and they just franchise their businesses out. You know what I mean? But they're constantly spending money on marketing, and putting money back into the brand. How are they making new burgers? How are they making new shakes, new fries, new McFlurry? They're always adding to it, and they're always investing into the company. And people don't see that. People think there's a difference between net and gross. People think what you net is what you gross. It's those two different things.
Yeah.
Like you might make $1 gazillion, but after taxes and splits and things of that nature, this is what you go home with. That's your gross, right?
Yeah.
So you got to remember that.
That's actually your net.
This is your net.
Yeah.
So when you gross over here, I'm moving too fast. So you gross let's say you gross $5 million. The IRS want 40%. Boom, there goes $3 million, right? Now you're gonna come over here. Now you net this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have to go reinvest that, and always remember that, like don't let the money control you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you will be one lost puppy out here.
Yeah, and I think it works both ways, right? Like it's both. I think for me anyway, I think about it both ways in the sense of like sometimes that means you got to spend the money and sometimes that means you got to save the money. You can't be afraid of the risk of. I think you can't be afraid of the risk of taking the swing and like making that investment that you need to make as a business or whatever, as your house even, like you need a new dryer or whatever those things are.
Facts.
Like take the cheap money if you need it, if you can get that cheap loan or whatever, like make that happen. But I also think like, sometimes it's like you're saying, like if you're too far away from the shore, then save the money. Sit on the money.
Save the money.
Cut your costs.
Yeah, cut your
do
costs.
what you can.
Lower your overhead. I learned that. I'm doing it right now. I'm literally like chopping overhead right now. Like literally, I'm like just chopping things. Like if it doesn't make us money right now, we gotta chop it. And that's a good thing. I think like it's almost like trimming fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it reminds me of. It's like, you trim the fat. Like, you bring in the money and you understand how things work. And then when the economy's good, you kind of like give out a little more. When the economy's pulling back, then you kind of like pull back on what you're spending when you're giving out. So it goes hand in hand. And I think that we'll be all right. But as far as the economy, how do you feel about the economy right now?
I feel pretty good, but I also, I feel like I want to recognize I live in a pretty privileged space where like I got a good job and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a low interest mortgage and all that stuff. So it's like, I'm doing pretty good. So I don't feel the pain of it in the way that, even my family does. But, I think it's just weird, and it's really that's all I can say about it is I think it's strange, and I think it's really a question to me, like it's a question of what comes out of all this. So you're mentioning like we're gonna cut the fat, right? Mm-hmm. Like all these companies just laid off all of these people.
Yep.
Did they overcut? You know, like those people have skills. They're valuable. They're going to go find other jobs, or they're going to create new companies, or whatever it is they're going to do. Did they overcut the fat? Did they hamstring themselves?
I think it's the AI.
There's actually some. I kind of think so too.
That's where AI comes in and it takes over. Like, you know, like we don't need 50,000. We can put money into a software and have them do the job. And I think we're headed into like some weird times.
I think so too.
Personally, what we consider to be normal, I don't think it's gonna be normal. I think that we're headed into times where we're gonna strongly depend on AI, and you're going. I was at a Fred Meyer. I've been into 2 Fred Meyers, and I've been into Safeway in the last 48 hours, and there's nobody ringing you out no more.
Yeah,
it's literally you going to the checkout stand and you're doing it yourself.
I'm kind of surprised you have to do that still. I know for a fact that those companies have, again, I'll be careful with fact. I don't have a source right now, but I did study food systems in school.
Okay.
And they use the barcodes on everything have what are called radio frequency IDs in them, and they actually can track movement around the store. And so there's some interesting data about how people move.
Really?
Yeah. About how products, so like an individual manufacturer of a product can know like how stuff is moving around the store because of those RFIDs. So they got crazy data. And it's surprising to me. I've thought for years, and I think they tested this not too long ago, but I've thought for years that Kroger or someone was getting ready to I think Amazon did this actually with one of those stores in Seattle where you just like walk out.
Yeah.
You just walk out with whatever you have and they bill you.
Yeah.
That they have all the data to do it. In some ways it's surprising they have cashiers at all. But that's coming though, bro. It is, and you're gonna see it like when Google I/O last week. I think Wendy's was announcing that
closing down stores.
They were saying they're gonna work with Google on using AI, and they like don't say it directly, obviously, but what they mean is they want an AI to take your order. You know, they don't want to have counter staff anymore. That's what they're trying to say. You know, like, damn. And so it's kind of true already. Like you go to the airport or something, you go to McDonald's, you already got the touch screen.
Yeah, I've seen that. So damn, it's kind of scary. So where are we headed though? Like, is this a good thing or bad?
I think it's good in a lot of cases. I think it's a really good thing in a lot of cases, and I think we'll see what that looks like. So I live in healthcare. That's really where my world is, and I think about this a lot. And people have used AI now to, like, for cancer imaging. People detect cancer using AI better than any human being can. Even a panelist of specialists.
AI is way better.
AI is better now. Yeah. And for certain types of conditions, lung cancers, things like that. I mean, that's overall a good thing, right? Like you're going to catch this stuff. You're going to be better. It's not like anybody who's when I was a kid, I broke my foot, went to the doctor, had x-rays. They looked at it. They're like, nah, he's fine. Send him home. It's just a hairline or it's nothing. They put me in a splint. I broke the splint on accident, had to go back. Different radiologist read the x-ray and was like, no, it's like bad broken. You know? It's like shit. That will not happen in the same way as much anymore going forward. And I think like that's a good thing. But I think we already can see. You look at Facebook, you look at some of the social media disruption and what that's meant for information. That's already been disruptive to democracy. That's in my opinion, is not a good thing.
Damn.
That's already happened.
Yeah.
And so I think like we know it's going to be good and bad. And I think what it means for the economy going forward is really there are a few things, there are a couple things I've heard people say that I think is really smart. And one, to what you do, and I've said this to you before, is like investing in property. So there's no way to make property an AI. There's no way to make like if you own something physical, I don't want to say you can't tokenize it and make it digital in some weird way using NFTs or whatever. But
I was just gonna say, because I feel like they're eventually gonna make like digital real estate.
Yeah,
I think they really will. I think they'll find a way, and you heard it here first. Chopping it up. I think they will find a way to make digital real estate like and I don't know how you do it. I don't have the grasp of it just yet. But I believe that will be a way to like go to a meeting. Like I believe like there'll be rooms, right? There'll be like, and I might can get paid for this. So you heard it here first and chopping it up. Let's say I had these glasses on, right? And these glasses were like glasses that brought me into like, what was it? The VR headsets, right?
Yeah. Apple's gonna announce this soon.
Okay, there you go. So let's say these glasses get me into a room, but in order for you to get in the room, you need these glasses. But in this room, I pay money to rent this digitized room. Because let's say my guy's over in Spain or London, and he wants to come in the room. They already have things like, what is it called, a Zoom meeting, or let's say you want to do it more filthy, or like, with some glasses or some shit. I rent this room out, and they charge me a monthly fee to rent this room out. It's digital real estate. Now we're all in the room together, and on some, like, let's say I have an AI Tasman talking with a guy over in Spain or Europe, and he's talking too, but we're in this room. And it feels real. It feels warm. It feels like, they're going to get to the point where now you're going to be able to feel like the energy, you know what I mean? And that's probably a little too far for some people right now, but the way that things are going, like, I mean, it's definitely headed into that type of energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're that type of time of, like, I believe that,
that's what Facebook's betting on. I mean, that's the whole meta thing, right? The metaverse, like they're betting on what you're saying, that people are going to want to have digital space, maybe not property cut. But I think like if Meta could monetize selling property in the metaverse, they're gonna sell it, right? Like that's what they do. So
they'll be on some sim shit, like on some really extra like new age sim shit, where like you're like and it's all crazy, man.
But I think like that, like that's one of the things though, is like property is going to be big. I think that people will find a way to work around it, but human interaction is another thing. Because even what you're saying there, like AIs will be able to do specific human things better than us, but I still think that the way that humans organize themselves and decide what it is that we want to do, like what problems we want to solve, whether those are, I don't know, it's computer vision problems like catching cheats or whatever. People are still going to like need to come together, and the human part of like, how do we, I know that you can get an AI to write something for you,
but it's not real.
But what to write is still something that humans are going to have to tell it. And you know what I mean? Like,
and it has no emotional
what's important to
attachment
us
to it.
Matters. Yeah.
Because if I'm writing a letter to like a significant other, I can tell the AI to do it, but it doesn't have that genuine feel from my heart. Like, I don't care how much AI you make, love is real. And feelings are real, and emotion is real. So when you're taking that from humanity, and you're creating a computer or data to like write these sources, it's kind of weird. I'm not against technology. I need it personally because it speeds my process up, right? Like everything I do, everything I do in my day, it requires technology. Literally everything, whether I'm coming in here, whether I'm in the business, whether I'm marketing, whether I'm doing X, Y, Z. I think it does hold some notion to helping my businesses or anyone's businesses or anyone and anything. I think it does hurt people though. Anything that comes, because too much of anything can kill you, right? Like too much of anything could be bad for you.
If you drink too much water, like you can go to the ER for can't think what they call that, but
too much of anything will kill you, man. Too much food, too much knowledge, too much wisdom, too much anything. I think you can never have enough. I think you're always trying to like, teach yourself the next thing. And I think that the moment you allow computers to think for us, we're headed into some weird times. But it's interesting to see how it's going to play out and how it's going to work. And I'm very interested to see how we're all going to go. I mean, we have no clue what's going to happen in the next couple of years, right? The next 10 years will be very different for us.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the things I would say most is just like that the pace of change with this type of technology, specifically AI, it just may be lightning now. Like we just, there's some possibility for the rest of our lives, we're all just kind of like, dang, it can do that now. It can do that now. You know what I mean? Like that. And that feels pretty weird.
That is kind of scary.
But it's also, I think like in the next 10 years, a couple of projects that like give me some hope. Because one of the things I think about is like what you're saying, right? So like we use technology all the time. We all use computers. But there was a time, even like when my parents were born, I mean, Bill Gates technically went to I think he went to a high school with like the first computer terminal in the country. You know what I mean? So that would have been however old he is, which means that like all of us own, whoever has a computer to do work, which is a lot of people now, that's new. That's the technology getting that cheap and being pushed out that far is kind of a new thing still. And I think that's going to happen with AI. And one of the so I'm hopeful anyway that in the future, that will use AI increasingly to solve really local problems. How do we do business in Tacoma? How do we do business on the eastern or the western portion of Washington? And not so much the kind of like these massive things that we're doing with it now, like Facebook does advertising or whatever, which is at a really large scale. Like, how do we kind of break all of that down so that we're leveraging it more locally? And the example that I would give, like Google right now, they have a project where they're trying to map the 1,000 most common languages in across each other so that they are like universally translated using AI. Shit. And you can imagine, like you're saying a second ago with the example that you had a client in Spain or something, and you get in a virtual room. Well, now what if you didn't have to speak the same language, and that ability for us to communicate directly, I think it's localization is the idea. And I know governments spend a lot of money trying to make sure that people who don't speak English have access to policy and things like that, so that they feel supported. I know companies do that. I think it's going to save a lot of money for people, and I think it could help people get better access to healthcare or whatever. And so like that's it. It really is a crazy idea to think of 1,000 languages that way too.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 languages on the earth.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, how many languages are there? I didn't know you could map 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, man. When you think of technology in that aspect, you kind of look at it from the symbolization of like, I guess I have the big question of why, right? Like, who is it benefiting? What is it benefiting, and how? I feel like it just makes more money for people. And that's where the discretion comes in. Like, if it's making more money, then it needs to be applied. I don't agree with everything that goes on in America or the world, and I don't agree with everything everything that's happening. Obviously, it's not I don't regulate anything. I just have an opinion on it. That's why I have a podcast. We should be able to think freely. But I think that, I hate to say this. I've never said this on the air before, but I think the decisions that have been made by the higher ups has not benefited humanity in any way. We are now in the most, people are stressed out. Yeah. People are frustrated. Yeah. People are tired.
There's still all the inequality and all that we've been dealing with forever.
And I think that you think of all the years and years and years and years and years and years and everything that they've been doing, it doesn't seem like we've kind of come to like a road of peace. It's just, all I see is chaos. I just think everything we talked about today, it's just chaos. You know what I mean? People are getting paid more money than they can even imagine right now. And as far as athletes, you're dealing with John Morant, you're dealing with the pre-COVID, after COVID, you're dealing with AI, you're dealing with all this stuff. And when you think about it, it's like, man, how has that benefited the young guy? Let's say you got two different kids from two different worlds, right? You got a kid that's rich, parents drive nice cars, lives in Bellevue, parents are multimillionaires, they work for Fortune 500 companies. You take a kid from poverty, a kid from, let's say, Tacoma, single mother, parents on drugs, and you implement AI to two different people's lives. How does it help either one of them become better?
Yeah.
Who does it benefit? And out of those two people, who does it benefit more? So I think when I think of that notion, I think of, it just I don't know how it benefits anybody, man. It benefits somebody on that stern, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it benefits the kid that, because
that's what's wild too, is like right now these executives of those companies, they're all saying they need to be regulated. And I think part of the reason is because they know that the answer right now as things are set up is, and that's why Google is rushing to push things out all of a sudden, is there's a way that all of this is linked to how much data you have. And if you find yourself behind in this race, you can lose entirely.
Terribly.
Because of how impressively powerful this technology is. And so for that reason, that to me suggests that that this technology right now is most likely to benefit whoever it's already benefiting, which is Facebook and Google and, you know, the people, the landed gentry, the people who already have the money and everything. And so in that example, exactly,
run this shit.
And that's why they're asking for regulation, because I think that some of them realize that that race is going to get them and the rest of us in trouble if we're not careful.
Well, what's after $1 trillion?
A quadrillion. Yeah.
And they want it, and I think they're chasing it, and they're gonna do whatever they got to do to get the quadrillion dollars. So
yeah, that's right.
Man, it's been a pleasure chopping up with Charlie.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
Man, I love it. Man, we're gonna have more chopping up podcasts. More things will be on the way. This is just a little tidbit of some information that we always talk about. I wanted to share with the world, share with you guys, and where can they find you at, Charlie, if they want to reach out to you, man?
Man, that is a good question. I don't do social media.
You can reach out to me. If you have any questions for Charlie, I'll definitely get you guys in contact with him.
Yeah, leave a comment or something.
Yeah. And we'll get you in contact with Charlie. But it's your boy Tasman Holloway. It's my boy Charlie. I call him Charlie Sheen in between because the boy be hustling, man. He's a hustler, man. He's a man of many things, and it's always good to have people like him in my circle. So I wanted to give you your flowers, man, because you're a good guy, and I think he adds value to what I have going on as far as my businesses, and it's always good to have people around you that can. If you're the smartest person in your circle or in your group, you're probably in the wrong group. And I might look the smartest, but I'm probably the dumbest person in this building. Like, there's people around me right now that are like, they're on different levels. I'm a hustler in a different world. But these guys in this building, they get shit done, and it's good to reach out to people like this, man. And shout out to Brittany, because what she's created is a dope thing. We have a monologue of entrepreneurs and people who are in business, and they're hustlers, bro. And I love it. I gotta be around that all day. Otherwise, I lose, and if I lose, shit, we all lose, man. So, Charlie, man, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You guys, we're gonna continue today. I'll see you on the next episode. Chopping It Up, episode 13. Thank y'all for stopping by. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment on the video. Make sure you guys stay in contact with us, and we'll see y'all on the next one, man. Peace. Look at that camera, boy. Peace. All right. All right.